What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with another video. 2019 is almost over and it's time to look back at one of the most interesting years in wrestling in a long time. And nothing says reflection like looking back at the goofs and gaffes that happened on live television. Join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at WWE bloopers that made it to air in 2019. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos. Let's start off with the video with looking at some graphical glitches. Some of the best bloopers involve glaring errors when it comes to the WWE's production department. The WWE is often praised for its high production values, but as we'll see, their record is not spotless. Number 1. Wrestling's 17-time world champion. Ric Flair's World Heavyweight Champions are still the stuff of legend, with fans marveling at his reigns as NWA World Heavyweight Champion, WWF Champion, and WCW World Heavyweight Champion. Like several world champions, the exact number of Flair's title reigns have been disputed, with some historians believing that Flair has had as many as 25. Flair has claimed to have held the belt 21 times, but the WWE has always set the number at 16, a record currently tied by John Cena. With that in mind, fans were surprised when the Nature Boy showed up on Raw on the 30th September and his Titantron graphic read 17-time champion. Now, we can't confirm that Flair took the video crew out before the show for some Mai Tais, but it would explain a lot. Number 2. WWE Chronicle Cluelessness. The WWE's network's Chronicle documentaries have featured looks at a variety of superstars, with one that debuted following September's Clash of Champions pay-per-view. This episode focused on Sasha Banks, but thanks to another graphical goof-up, it read Chronicle Seth Rollins while displaying an image of the Boss. Number 3. A mystery revealed too soon. Fans often enjoy mystery opponents, so fans tuning into Raw to see Chad Gable and Bobby Roode about to face a mystery team were no doubt dismayed when a graphic revealed the Usos before Jimmy and Jay even appeared. Another slick move there, WWE. Number 4. A new Kabuki warrior? As bad as Jerry Lawler's announcing was at TLC, including a spot where he referred to Kairi Sane as Kabuki Warrior number 1 or 2, this on-air blooper will have you wondering whether anyone knows just who makes up the current women's tag team champions. During the 5th August edition of Monday Night Raw, Asuka and Kairi Sane made their way to the ring accompanied by their manager at the time, Paige. The only problem was the graphic that read the Kabuki Warriors with Paige had their social media tags as Kairi Sane and Io Shirai. Number 5. Samoa Joe jumps ahead in the King of the Ring. Despite fans being skeptical about the 2019 King of the Ring, and who can blame them given the poor booking of the past few winners, this year's tournament featured some quality talent battling for the WWE's Regal reward. Still, the tournament featured a graphical glitch after Samoa Joe defeated Cesaro and the on-screen graphic read, Samoa Joe advances to the semi-finals. The only problem was that Joe had advanced to the quarterfinals, the next step in the journey. Number 6. Raw airs in Manchester, UK and shows a graphic from Australia. The WWE always likes to provide shots of the town or city their live events air in, but when Raw came to Manchester, England, the WWE aired an awesome collage of Manchester sights, but somehow managed to squeeze in a picture of Australia's Etihad Stadium. And number 7. Does WWE really value ZACK RYDER? Now, at the start of the year, it became noticeable that ZACK RYDER hadn't even wrestled on Raw for many months. And even when they got the opportunity to wrestle on the show, the WWE managed to balls up his name on the graphic, spelling his name wrong. In fact, Ryder even brought this up in a promo next week to show off his frustration. But while those were some graphical glitches, let's look at some stumbles, fumbles, and bumbles. Everyone has tripped and even fell, but no one likes to do it on national television. Now, these aren't instances of wrestlers botching moves unless you could call placing one foot in front of the other a wrestling maneuver. Number 1. Scott Dawson forgets how to walk. Entering the ring can be difficult, especially when you perform a spectacular move like doing the splits as Eminem's Melina used to do. However, walking towards the entrance ramp should be fairly easy, right? Well, not so for Revival Scott Dawson, who somehow managed to trip when exiting the gorilla position and fell on his backside, entertaining millions of fans on social media. Just think how many times the WWE is going to replay this if Dawson does leave the WWE in 2020. Number 2. Batista stumbles into the ring. WrestleMania 35 featured the swan song of the Animal Dave Batista as he battled Triple H in a no-holds-barred match with Hunter's career on the line. BATISTA, who had been out of the ring for some time, nevertheless put on a good match, but things got off to a shaky start when he tripped himself up trying to enter the ring. If you're going to trip, you might as well do it on the grandest stage of them all. Number 3, Drake Maverick's big win and big fall. Now, Drake Maverick was clearly elated when he defeated Elias for the 24/7 championship in late August on SmackDown, so elated in fact that he tripped on a cable right at ringside and fell. To his credit, Maverick got right back up and continued celebrating. Number 4, Ricochet lands on his face. Now, we're not going to be dissing Ricochet because pretty much the only athletic thing I can do is get out of bed. But whilst it might have been a case of nerves to debut on his first ever WWE pay-per-view, that being on the main roster, Ricochet normally does a backflip onto his knee, but at Stomping Grounds he kinda missed and fell flat on his face. He still took it in good stride and he hasn't botched since. Next up, confusing calls. In these cases, announcers or superstars had a slip of the lip while on the microphone, usually making for some funny moments. Number 1, Cole confuses AJ with Styles. It's gotta be difficult calling the in-ring action, especially with Vince McMahon screaming down your headset, but we can't let this one slip. During the 6th May edition of Monday Night Raw, AJ Styles teamed with Seth Rollins to take on Bobby Lashley and Baron Corbin. After Rollins tagged Styles in, Michael Cole announced that AJ and Styles are now both illegal, which, while technically true, was incredibly redundant. Number 2, Hulk Hogan's mental muscles fail him. The Showcase of the Immortals featured a special appearance by Hulk Hogan, with the Hulkster welcoming the fans to the MetLife Center. The only problem was that the fans were in the MetLife Stadium. Fans couldn't help but think of Hogan's 2014 gig hosting WrestleMania 30, where he repeatedly referred to the New Orleans Mercedes-Benz Superdome as the Pontiac Silverdome, the home of WrestleMania 3. Regrettably for the fans at the MetLife Stadium, that was the least of their worries, as some fans complained they couldn't even see the in-ring action at times due to the bright lighting on the elaborate structure built over the ring. Fans trying to get home also experienced severe delays as the area's mass transit system was unprepared for WrestleMania's late finish, leading to an understaffed transit system and many disgruntled travelers stuck in the rain. Number 3, wrestlers forget their lines. Now, when Braun Strowman had a face-to-face confrontation with the reigning Universal Champion Brock Lesnar on Monday Night Raw, the monster among men had to say a few words to him. Despite Braun noticeably not knowing his lines, Paul Heyman tried to save the day and came up with a few good lines to provoke his client.
No! Next! That's the best you got?
On the Wrestling Observer Live, Brian Alvarez revealed, yeah, Braun Strowman forgot every single line, but at least the WWE Universe managed to cut him some slack. Something they didn't do with Ronda Rousey when she forgot her lines. Clearly agitated by the fans' negative reaction, she tried her absolute best to try and salvage the promo, but it was clear it just wasn't working.
You know, if you can't dream big, ridiculous dreams, what's the use of dreaming at all?
We're also not giving Lana a free pass, as when giving her promo on Raw on how she had a protective order against Rusev, she noted that Rusev was not supposed to be in 90 miles? Well, 90 days? No, 90 feet close to her. But there are always moments when wrestlers call out spots a little too loud, so loud that they might as well be using a megaphone. John Cena was once the patron saint of shouting it out loud, but since then, the women's revolution has led to Becky Lynch showing the WWE's women can do anything as well or better than the men. Now, we won't waste your time with Becky's frequent failures to use a stage whisperer when calling spots, but instead look at some others. Number 1, Bayley bellows for LACEY. On an episode of SmackDown Live, a match featuring Bayley battling wrestling's sassy Southern Belle Lacey Evans started the match with an arm drag on Evans. For whatever reason, Bayley was a bit too loud when she called the move, and it could be heard blatantly on camera. Number 2, Ronda Rousey misses her cue. For someone who has managed to carve out a career in Hollywood, Ronda Rousey has shown an amazing lack of ability on the microphone and here an inability to follow directions. During a March Raw on the road to WrestleMania, Rousey stopped atop a turnbuckle, pridefully posing for the crowd. Sadly, the baddest woman on the planet forgot to hold her Raw Women's Championship up, despite a director shouting, "Ronda, hold the title up." The director can be heard repeating this to Rousey until she finally lifts the title. For whilst there are times when wrestlers should be seen and not heard, these are times when technical errors lead to some audio errors that could have happened at the worst time. Number 1, Shane O'Mac is speechless. Shane McMahon drew a lot of go-away heat this year thanks to his seemingly omnipresence on WWE television, including long-winded promos and interminable run-ins on both Raw and SmackDown. Thanks, Wildcard Rule. Thankfully, the WWE finally wrapped things up, sending Shane on his way when Kevin Owens challenged him to a ladder match with both men's careers on the line. KO challenged Shane on SmackDown, but this time, Shane's microphone failed, denying everyone the chance to hear his response. Perhaps the only time in 2019 that fans wished McMahon's microphone wasn't muted. Number 2, Shane's speechlessness is contagious. Apparently, Shane McMahon has the ability to render people silent besides WWE audiences, as seen during the 17th June episode of Raw, where he was seen backstage enjoying some food with Drew McIntyre and the Revival. Heath Slater came in and the room went silent, despite everyone talking. Things got so bad that announcer Michael Cole had to try and explain what was going on. But what about some props in the WWE? Sometimes WWE can botch them too. Number 1. Brock Lesnar's Replica Universal Championship. Now, during 2019, the Universal Championship belt held by Brock Lesnar wasn't seen very regularly, but fans were a bit dismayed when they didn't even see the real title. As according to PW Insider and many observant fans, neither Brock Lesnar nor Ronda Rousey were wearing the actual title belt on Monday Night Raw, and instead were wearing replicas. The replica titles are much brighter on screen, and they don't have the specific pattern seen on the real belt. Now, apparently WWE always has more than one copy of each of their titles in the rare case of a goof-up. It is believed that both left their championships at home accidentally. And number 2, Roman Reigns' SUV's healing factor. It's a long accepted trope of the squared circle that wrestlers can absorb a tremendous amount of punishment, taking beatings that would leave mere mortals at death's door. Roman Reigns has shown such a fortitude, and last summer, fans learned that the ability also applies to the big dog's motor vehicles. During a segment on Raw, Reigns was minding his own business in his SUV when an unknown assailant, later revealed to be Eric Rowan, drove a vehicle into Roman's SUV, damaging Roman's wheels and side panel. However, when Raw returned after the commercial, there was no damage to be seen on the SUV. Now, there's just some botches that WWE doesn't manage to capture on camera. Yes, we know the video is called Botches That Actually Aired, okay, so we are breaking it with this one as it didn't actually air, but someone managed to capture it on camera. As both Baron Corbin and Randy Orton were on the stage, Corbin was taking a seat on his throne, but midway through, it managed to just disintegrate. Even Randy couldn't even hold back the laughs. But there you have it, guys, the bloopers that actually made it to air in 2019. Do you remember any of these miscues and mishaps from 2019? Make sure you check out our companion videos on the best and worst of the WWE in 2019. Be sure to leave your comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.